What if your shadow could suddenly detach from you and go on its own adventures? Now, that's a wild thought. Picture this. You're walking down the street on a sunny day, minding your business, when you glance to your side, and, bam, your shadow just decides to take off. No warning. No goodbye. Just poof, it's out of there. You're left standing there, staring at the spot where your once loyal, silent partner in crime used to be, wondering, did I do something wrong? First off, can we just talk about how strange this would be? You'd be walking around, living your life, and every now and then you'd look over your shoulder and see an empty patch of pavement where your shadow should be. You might start wondering if you've got some sort of supernatural curse, or if it's a full moon and you're about to be followed by a creepy, rogue shadow gang. But let's assume that your shadow's sudden independence doesn't mean something horribly sinister is afoot, though let's be real, we'd all probably be slightly freaked out at first. The real issue here isn't the fear of what your shadow's up to when it's not attached to you. It's the sheer chaos that would follow. I mean, how do you even begin to explain to people that your shadow is off doing its own thing? Sorry, can't make it to dinner, my shadow's out chasing adventures. And it wouldn't be just some quiet little getaway, oh no. Your shadow would be living its best life, while you're left dealing with the awkwardness. Picture your shadow out at the beach, tanning itself under the sun, while you're at work typing away in your office. Meanwhile, you're down in the dumps, wondering if your shadow's out there partying without you, meeting other shadows, sharing inside jokes in some far-off corner of the world. But hey, it gets even wilder. Your shadow is now free to do things that you can't. Maybe it goes on a road trip to the Grand Canyon, or, who knows, it might get bored and sneak off to try bungee jumping, or parkour through downtown. Think about it, your shadow, suddenly experiencing things like fear and joy. Could a shadow even have fun? Is there an emotional component to its existence we never considered? Maybe it's off grappling with an identity crisis. Am I really just a reflection of this person's shape, or am I more than that? Maybe your shadow's running into other shadows and bonding over the shared experience of never being in the spotlight. It's like an underground society, full of rebel shadows who want to break free from the predictable life of being constantly attached to some human footstep. And once your shadow starts experiencing the world in a way that you can't, things would get complicated. Suddenly you're at a family dinner, and your shadow isn't there. And people are like, where's your shadow? Shouldn't it be here? And you're like, I don't know guys. I think it's on an impromptu vacation in the Alps. We've been having some issues lately. But let's dive deeper into the philosophical implications. If your shadow has its own consciousness, it might start to develop its own opinions about you, its former owner. Think about all the deep philosophical complaints your shadow could have. You never appreciate me, it might say. You walk around in the dark, and I'm always the one who has to be there, no matter what. Never a thank you, never a hey, great job staying attached for hours on end. Or maybe your shadow starts feeling like it deserves a bigger role in the relationship. It's tired of being relegated to just following you around. You know, I'm the one that gives you the proper lighting. Without me, you'd be just another person stumbling around in the dark. Ever think of that? I deserve better than being stuck under your shoes all day. Your shadow could go through a personal transformation, deciding to leave you altogether and live its best life. Maybe it wants to explore the depths of the night, sneak into art galleries and cast mysterious shapes on famous paintings, or take over the theater stage when the lights are dimmed just right. Imagine it attending a party of other detached shadows, exchanging stories about what it's like to not have a human to stick to. Who knows? Maybe your shadow becomes an overnight sensation. People will start to notice it at parties. Oh, did you see that cool shadow that was hanging out by the bar? It was totally independent. And soon, your shadow's out there making headlines. Local shadow starts solo career, visits all 7 continents, or shadow found taking a leisurely stroll across the moon's surface during a spacewalk. You'd be like, that's my shadow, but now I'm sort of jealous of it. But okay, now let's imagine the more practical side of things. You're left shadowless, trying to go about your day. You can't even walk into a store without people giving you weird looks, like you're some sort of paranormal being. Hey, where's your shadow? They'd ask. It's on a journey of self-discovery. You'd reply, and immediately start Googling how to live without one. You'd go through phases of shadow withdrawals. There's this little empty space beside you, and you'd catch yourself glancing at it every now and then, hoping your shadow might come back. Maybe, after a long, dramatic period of separation, your shadow would come crawling back, just in time for a sunset. It might be like, yeah, I've seen some things. I went to the top of a mountain. I got into photography. But you know what? I missed you. Maybe we can make this work again, on my terms. And suddenly, you'd realize you've got this weird, existential partnership going on. One that's deeply personal, strangely independent, but still undeniably yours. But here's the real kicker. Could your shadow ever come back? Or would you start to feel like a little part of you is missing forever? In the end, maybe the detachment of your shadow forces you to think about your own life differently. Maybe it teaches you something about dependence and freedom. Or maybe it's just a hilarious, confusing, bizarre little blip in your existence. Either way, your shadow's journey would be a pretty wild ride. One that leaves you wondering if you can ever truly go back to how things were before. So, what do you think? Could you live with a detached shadow? Would you be envious of its freedom, or would you just hope it finds its way back home? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let us know. What if Factory always loves exploring the weird, the wild, and the thought-provoking?